stripper, but the tip out was taxing. Buying all the purses, trying to keep up with the fashion. And her mama hated babysitting with a passion. She deserved better circumstances. A black queen, she should have been blessed with certain chances. Look down upon, getting all the hurting glances. Making men change up all the twerking stances. She never cried about the pain, only gritted her teeth. But most soldiers never get a flower or a wreath. She like G.I. Jane in the war with no relief. Don't recognize why killers was going through her beat. She said more prayers than the nun did. After seeing so much struggles with only one kid, the clinic said baby number 2 couldn't be undid. 9 months later, delivery and it's one big.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, family? Welcome to the Black by the Man radio show with your boy, Brother Mike. I will be your host. And today I am here with my team members. First, it's my co-host, the lovely Miss Janice. How you doing today, Miss Janice? And then we got my main man, Derrick Woodson over here. How you doing, Derrick?
I'm good.
Turn the volume down on that, please, brother. How's everybody feeling?
Good.
Everybody ready for another good show today? All right, so before we get into it, we're going to try to send out some invites. You guys can hang out with us today and join us. Today's show is going to be another episode of Constructive or Destructive. And, you know, we pick things that we feel applies to us, and we try to decide, is this constructive, is this destructive? And we try to have a little fun with it. You know what? Let me get my watch party going here. So, yeah, so we're going to send out some invites so you guys can hang out with us today. We got a watch party started on my page here. Let's get that started. All right, here we go. Is this constructive? Is this destructive? Let me mute this. All right, we is ready to rock. So I'm gonna send out some more invites. How's everybody doing though?
Good.
Have a good weekend?
Had a great weekend.
Great weekend. Anything uneventful? Anything you want to share with us?
My weekends these days be full of work.
Full of work. Okay, making money. Them good weekends right there. Is your mic on, sweetheart? Yeah. Yeah, let's see if we can turn the volume up. We want to make sure we're able to hear the lovely Miss Janice today. Let's get this volume up a little bit. Is it up?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Mr. Woodson, how you doing, brother?
I'm good.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Black by the Man radio show. Woo woo! We back in the building, y'all. So I'm going to send out some invites. You guys got any current events worth talking about? Anything worthy going on other than black people being killed? That seems to always be the current events, right? Unfortunately. Anything y'all can think of uneventful or out of the ordinary, worth talking about?
Worth talking about? I don't know. But anyway, let's just still talk about it.
Mike, yeah.
Let's talk about the pastor situation.
Uh-oh. What was his name? Pastor Wilson. Pastor Wilson.
I don't know. I just wanted to know what you guys think about that video going up because me personally, like, I just want to know, like, why would somebody think, like, they have the authority like that to ruin another person's life?
Very, very true.
Why would, like, who would think that would be anybody's business, you know, enough for that?
I'm with you on that. Switch out your mic here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like everybody seems to be, from what I'm seeing on social media, is a lot of focus is being put onto, his act and what he did. Like, okay, like, are we really surprised that a Christian pastor was caught doing an inappropriate sexual activity? I don't think it's that surprising. But nobody seems to be focusing on what you said, which is the violation that this young lady did. Like, that's a private moment between them. Like, true indeed, we all enjoyed the laugh of it, right? The entertainment of it. But at the end of the day, she really did violate his trust factor with her, his rights, you know what I mean, to have an intimate moment with her. And, like, nobody seems to be speaking on that.
Yeah, because I'm just simply saying, you know, everybody is talking about what he did. What about what she did?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that should be the biggest case here. Not about, you know, what he was doing behind closed doors, but it should be about why she felt that
right, she wanted to expose
she can ruin
him.
another person's life like that. So that's that's what I think the fuss should be about, the fact that she did that.
Yeah,
not the fact of what he was doing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Doors.
I agree with you because what he was doing, I mean, let's just be frank. I mean, was it really that strange to everybody? You understand what I'm saying? Like, was it really that strange? But again, no one seems to be focusing on that she violated his rights during their intimate moments,
exactly.
right? And then aired him out, put him on social media. And it is the type of situations where I'm not trying to take away from what he did. You know what I mean? I guess he holds a certain position within the church, within Christianity, you know, so of course it's definitely frowned upon. I don't know if he's married or not, but you know, I would assume he may be. So of course it's frowned upon that he's out, you know, being promiscuous, sleeping with someone else. But so is she. You understand what I mean? Like, shouldn't there be some shame associated with her to be sleeping with the pastor versus just it only being the pastor sleeping with her? You get what I mean?
Not only that, like, I mean, we all know what pastors do.
Tell us about that, Miss Janice.
See, that's not what I do. Apparently, that's what somebody else does. That's just not what I do. But I'm just saying, so, like, sure, you know, we can hold him at a higher stake, but he's still a human at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, who still don't deserve to have his rights violated in that manner. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna try it for
Yeah, because technically, whatever he violated, right, would be based on whether he's married or not. So let's say he's married. So what he violated was his wife, right? He didn't violate us. So we're really not in a position to act like this man's a bad person. Only his wife can decide that. You get what I mean? Like, that's who he violated. So he doesn't owe us anything. But like you said, it's more about the fact that she exposed him. You know what I mean? And she took their private, intimate moments, recorded it, and then put it on Facebook. And that's pretty foul. That's pretty wicked. But you know, again, you got to be careful with what you're doing out here. You know, you got to be careful with who you're fooling with. You got to be careful with these dudes. You got to be careful with these women. You know, because before you know it, you know, you might be on social media and, you know, go through a little bit of embarrassment. But it was crazy. Let me ask this. Did you actually watch the video?
I did.
Yeah, I seen it too. I did find it entertaining. I can't lie. It was entertaining to say the least.
It's not, you know, something that should have been on Facebook. Like, it's not for the world to see.
Right. What was her motive, right?
Yeah.
What is your motive for doing this to this man?
Right.
Just to say, you know, look who he is, look what he really does. But he was doing it with you. So, like, look who you are. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't see how she would think that it was going to not also reflect on her as well. You get what I mean? It's just a bad reflection on both people, more or less.
Yeah, but she didn't put her face out there. She just did his. I mean,
true that.
When people are like, you know.
Yeah, so we don't even really know who she is, right?
Let's not be a coward about it. Just, you know, let's just do the whole video. Like, put your face out there.
Put your face out there too, right?
Now you want to be putting people pictures out. Put yours out there too.
So, Mr. Woodson, give us your thoughts on it.
My thing personally, no grown man is not going to have that type of time down there in between these young ladies' legs and not look up. So even though we're all adults, so you can hear the moment. This is feeling good, she's feeling good, or whatever. You don't take a moment to look up to say something. So now you're on camera. Now you don't know why she put you on. Maybe you lied to her. You're gonna put her on the board. You're gonna do this and do that. Now you're caught up. I think it's crazy how she did it and blasted him.
Right.
But that's on him.
It's definitely a risk that you take when you do certain activities.
Absolutely.
You know, but you know, in this society, it's definitely going to fall heavier on him, even though that may not be legitimately the way it should be. Because at the end of the day, if people are doing wrong, it takes two to tango. So how dare you just expose him when you was the one letting him do it? You get what I mean? And, you know, we don't know who you are. And then it was just foul, period, you know, because intimate moments are a trust factor. There's a trust factor between two people when they're being intimate, even if that intimacy is not legit, you know, like even if it's with your mistress or with your side dude, you know what I mean, a side chick or whatever, there's still a level of trust between you two that y'all business is y'all business. So she definitely violated him, but you know, if he's married, then he definitely violated his wife. So it's just a lot of violations going on. A lot of violations. But moving on, what else we got? Anything? Current events? Anything special going on? Yeah, I can't think of anything that's worthy of really speaking about. So it's no problem. We can move on. Let's move on to get this show started. I'm still sending out some invites here. We decided to try a different microphone today. I tend to prefer the microphone sitting right in front of me, so I hope my voice is coming off, you know, with clarity and it's not too overbearing and, you know, staticky, which we can get sometimes. So today's show is going to be on constructive or destructive, and we haven't done one of these in a minute, so I'm a little excited to do this. So let's just get into the show. Constructive or destructive. So for those who have never watched one of our shows on constructive or destructive, we select certain topics to discuss, and then we decide, is this constructive or is this destructive? And we basically just have a little fun with it. Remember, the Black Body Man radio show consists of facts, perspectives, and opinions. So that's what you get with a lot of these constructive or destructives. For those in the audience today, we want to thank you for tuning in with us. It's good to be back. We was not on last week. And we want to thank y'all for supporting us at blackbodyman.com, and make sure you become a patron at patreon.com/brothermikebbd. We need you guys' help. And I always keep checking with the website because it is hoodie season. So we're about to break out some more of our hoodies, and we know you guys been waiting on them. So we're going to get them to you as soon as possible. All right, so let's get into this. Constructive or destructive? Number one, judges hugging convicted murderers during trial. Yeah, go for that, brother.
I think that's crazy because how can you single out one individual person where the crime rate hasn't stopped, murders haven't stopped killing,
right?
So what made her so significant about this young lady? And they combed her hair.
You had several different black women that seem to be in the mammy mode. Right. You got the CO stroking her hair, making sure she's okay. And then even after conviction, you have the judge coming from behind the bench and giving this woman a hug, you know, which is something I felt was unprecedented. I've never noticed or seen anything like that in my life. You know what I mean? So what is all this mercy that those two particular women felt they had to demonstrate to this other woman who just murdered someone? You know, like what do you think it could have been that made them feel they wanted to deliver some mercy to her?
I think it was more about press, because there was a young lady who, she lied, yes she did, and said that her son went to another school to put him into a better school, and she was convicted. Right. And she did something that was the better for her son. She didn't get a hug, she didn't get a letter, she didn't get anything. She was sent to jail. No sympathy. Not at all.
And this was for lying to get her child in a better school.
Right.
So it's definitely destructive. Now, unless this is something in court that we're going to start doing after we convict people, you know, everybody that's convicted at this point is going to get a hug from a judge. I'm just
and
saying,
a Bible. Let's not forget the Bible.
You get a hug and a Bible. We have to be consistent all around the board. Do we pick and choose the cases now? Who's getting hugs and Bibles?
Right. I mean, great question. Yeah, I thought it was hella inappropriate. I think it's ridiculous that in 2019, with all of the things that black people have been suffering from at the hands of white people doing us wrong and no justice, that, you know, we still have black people that will publicly go into this mammy spirit and show forgiveness without even taking in consideration. How do you think that made the family feel of the murdered victim? You get what I'm saying? Like, yes, indeed, the judge supposedly did hug his parents as well, but that's the only people you should have been hugging, you know. But on that note, stay here. We're going to be right back. We're up on the first break. It's the Black Body Man radio show. We are talking constructive or destructive. We'll be back.
Be Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
Period.
the real.
You right.
That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right.
And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to. If the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week, you don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio show.
Skirt, 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 skirt. Start, skirt, 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 start. I be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I be up in the way. 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 Bedroom phone ring, girl in t-shirt answers me. I get off on the way that she answers me. First time saw her, I knew she was the one for me. Ever since then, we been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to the ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. SL what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the f I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Black Bottom Man Radio Show with your boy, Brother Mike. So today we are talking constructive or destructive. One of the episodes we like to do at least once a month to go over certain topics and decide if we're going to go with this and think it's constructive or go against it and think it's destructive. So up first, number one was judges hugging convicted murderers during trial. I definitely thought it was destructive. I thought it was. I'm trying to say this nicely. I just thought it was a disgrace. You know what I mean? I thought it was a disgrace. I thought it set us back. I think as black people, we were just beginning to wake up to the fact that we forgive everyone and no one forgives us. Like I said before, white people in particular have not forgiven Michael Vick for a dogfight that he was not even there for. But yet we forgive convicted murderers, you know, and a lot of people believe that organized religion is behind this. You know what I mean? Christianity has put us in a certain mindset where we were taught to always forgive our oppressor, even though he doesn't forgive you for anything. And the thing that saddens me the most is so many of us think this is a godly way to be, you know, and I think if you read the Bible, you will find out that God was not as forgiving as we are. You get what I'm saying? So I think she set us back, you know, for those who are beginning to wake up and realize if someone murders your family member. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to say, I don't forgive them. You get what I mean? And it's like we were just beginning to grasp that. You know, like maybe you reach a point in your life where you do forgive that person, but definitely not right now. You know what I mean? Like we doing a murder trial, so forth and so on. And with those two particular women holding positions, you know, the CEO as well as the judge, is definitely demonstrating that our black women will continue to move through the corporate structure of this society. But at the same time, we don't want to also see you being submissive to things that you shouldn't be submissive to. You know, like you didn't have to do that. That was strictly to benefit you and to benefit her. And that's why we sitting here talking about it. You know, but what about the family, you know? And, you know, and the judge's excuse was, well, you know, they didn't show on camera that I hugged his parents first before I hugged them. Yeah, well, I mean, you should control what they show on camera then. If you're saying that, you know, they edited it to make it look like I only hugged the murderer, you know, then you should have came forward immediately and said that before all this got started. You waited until you got put in the hot seat, and now you want to explain. Like, oh, I was hugging everybody. Yeah, well, you know, tomato. But either way, destructive for me.
Yeah, and I mean, to me, the judge job is to sit on the bench.
Oh, you know what? You getting the bell on that. Sit your ass on that bench.
Sit on the bench.
Ain't nobody tell you to get up. I like that. Your job is to sit on the bench. How about that? Sit on that bench. Don't get up. You know, because you ain't getting up hugging no black people. I want to see the history of your court cases, and I want to see you hugging a black person that just murdered somebody. I want to see that. Where's that footage at? We don't get no hugs. We don't get hugs that we get to jail.
It's just unprofessional. At the end of the day, you're a judge, and because this woman was not in handcuffs like usual murderers are,
right,
or a bailiff is next to her,
right,
you felt you were comfortable enough to step off your bench, give her a hug, and then say it's okay.
Right.
After she killed an innocent man.
Killed an innocent man, and it has been proven, right? I've seen videos where people have come forward with the actual laws, and what she did was illegal. It was illegal for her to allow his brother to come off the stand and go hug the murderer, and it was double illegal for her to have come from behind that bench and hug. So I'm saying, what does that say about her state of mind? Not only was you out to show this mammy attitude of sympathy, but you even risked your job behind it. Because you a judge and what you did was illegal. Come on, that's a sickness I ain't ready to deal with today. That's too much for Monday. Hey, we just gonna move on for that. I say destructive, Miss Janice.
Destructive.
Definitely destructive.
Definitely destructive. All right, let's move on. All right, constructive or destructive. Our next one is transgender bathrooms. Bathrooms for all whatever. I don't even know what to call people today. That's being transgender bathrooms, though, right? Bathrooms where both male, female, and those who identify as male and female can be in at the same time. How do we feel about this?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
This is why kids keep getting molested. I was just watching,
sadly, right?
Yeah, I was just watching something the other day. And, you know, a grown man was up dancing, and the kid got up and started dancing with the grown man. And the kid's parents was like, you know, sit your tail down. This is why you keep getting molested.
This is why.
Because you're playing around with grown people.
Playing around with grown folks.
You could have kids in these restrooms. Grown folks of whatever gender now can just come on in and use the restroom with your little girls. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's insanity. You know what I mean? Like I think you know, like this society is pushing to just make it a just true life biblical Sodom and Gomorrah.
It is.
You get what I mean? Like this country is becoming Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, like there are some who say, and I just recently saw this, and again, you know, I'm not saying anyone's providing facts. I'm just watching people who speak on it, and it's many who believe that right now the state of our society is worse than it was in the days of Noah. You know what I mean? So we are in the midst of a society that caused the Most High God to destroy Earth because it was so filthy. And I think this is a part of it, man. You know, like it's one thing when you look at it from the perspective of adults because you feel like you can handle it, right? But what happens when your son or your daughter's in there and then a man walks in with a dress on and makeup and a wig and all that and then goes to the pee urinal? You know what I mean? To, relieve himself. You know, like that child's going to be so confused. Like, you get what I mean? Like, what is going on here? I think it's disgusting.
The problem is with the transgender bathrooms. Now, if you're saying that this individual man is no longer a woman anymore, then he should go into a female bathroom.
Right.
Now, if this female is no longer a woman anymore, she should go in a male bathroom. It shouldn't be, because if you have a female, well, you have a transgender who still has his penis, goes into a female bathroom. Where does he use the bathroom? Does he sit down? Is there going to be a urinal in there?
Right. It's
you have to reconstruct all your thinking to get them to fit into this bathroom.
Right.
Because now you have a man that still has his private, a woman still has her vagina. What she does in a man's bathroom, how does she sit down? She has to pee standing up.
Right. It's a lot.
We have all urinals.
Right. It's a lot of confusion.
So it's bigger than just them having a right. It's a lot of stuff that goes with that. People are so sick in their minds worrying about, I have a right to be this and whoever. Yeah, but you're changing our rights in the same token.
Right.
So it doesn't make, so you worrying about what you can do, what you can't do. What about us as a people? Now we have to change our thinkings, patterns, everything, because you have a problem with yourself inside.
Right. The whole thing of I identify as this different person, you know? Well, if it's going to work that way, then I want my credit score higher, because though it's not, I identify as someone with a credit score that's higher than what I got. Right. So I'm going to need somebody to fix that. Okay? Because if that's how we rolling, we just grabbing identities, right? I identify as a woman. Oh, I identify as a rich person, but the bank doesn't agree with me.
Absolutely.
You get what I mean? Like, this is getting out of control. So I definitely think it's constructive. I mean, destructive. I'm sorry. I think it's destructive.
I think it's disgusting.
I'm with you on that, too.
I think it's just ridiculous.
And I think it's going to cause so much confusion amongst the children.
It's insanity.
It's insanity. I'm going to go with destructive for you.
Yeah.
The lovely Miss Janice says this is destructive. Yeah, I just have not seen, I guess, proper explanation, justification to make me feel like that this is a good idea. I just haven't felt it yet. Have y'all seen anyone try to explain why this is a good idea? Because I haven't.
All I can think of is just what's been going on forever. This is just somehow still, I don't know, messing with the mind. The judges coming down hugging people, the
hugging murderers,
gender restrooms. Like, this is just, it's just too much for the brain.
It's selfish.
I think it is selfish too.
It's selfish because how you feel as a person makes you that particular person. Now, if you want to be a ballerina, be a ballerina. If you want to be a gymnast, be a gymnast. But don't force me to be in there with you.
Right.
Don't make me become uncomfortable, because now that I see you, I identify you as a man because you changed your voice.
Right.
Now you're a woman.
Right. Yeah.
Because you have to go in the bathroom with me until you no longer have that item between your legs. So now when you come into a man's bathroom with hair on, makeup, your fake breasts or whatever, I'm saying, excuse me, miss, you're in the wrong bathroom.
Right. Right.
Now, are you offended, or you're thankful because I recognize you as a woman, but you stand next to me in the urinal, I feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Now there's a woman, until the surprise comes out, stand next to me in the urinal.
And where does it leave you at, as far as, like, I'll use you as an example. You have a son. So you and your son, football game's over. You say, come on, son, I'm going to take you. You did a good job. Let's go get some ice cream or something, right? While you're there, both of y'all, he says, Daddy, I use the bathroom. All right, come on, me too, son. Y'all go in the bathroom together. There's through appearance, what appears to be a woman, dress on, makeup, hair, and all that, but in the men's bathroom. And then your son's like, Dad, is that a woman? You get what I mean? Like,
no, son.
How do you deal with that? You get what I'm saying?
That's a hard pill to swallow, because you don't, at the end of the day, you don't want to disrespect no one,
right?
Because how they are. But I have to tell my 6-year-old son what you are,
right?
And I'm not gonna lie to him, sir, son. That is someone who has a different mindset than we have. Now, he's gonna ask. Now we might be in 10, 15 minutes because any 6-year-old gonna ask 1,000 questions. So, Daddy, now my mommy can come in this bathroom too. Now my sister can come in this bathroom too.
That's what I'm
getting
at.
So now it's broader than your own emotion.
Right.
Again, it's a selfish thing that I don't want to say these people, these individuals are doing nowadays because you're confusing the children.
Yeah, so even if we take it a step further than that, I mean, what about the kids who go to the restrooms alone then? And then someone's in there. And then they come in the store with them like, it's okay, that's why we're allowed. We can come in the same restrooms. And they come in, they go in the same stall your child is in.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Because now you got the mother role inside of a men's bathroom.
So
Right.
Because now, a little boy, I got you. Now this man, say if a little child goes in there, they don't know how to unzip. And now you have this man in there as a female helping this child unzip. I'm letting you know. If I go in there, it's going to be ugly.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, and see, and those are some of the things that I see as the negative of it. I haven't seen anyone explain anything to me that, the benefit of this going on, other than the selfishness, like you said, of satisfying this particular group of people who chooses to say, I identify with something else.
Right.
And then I think it deals with, if you look at the people that sit at the top who's behind these type of activities, there's a God complex going on. There are humans on this earth that want to be God. When you reach a point with your science and technology that you feel you can offer someone the ability to change who they were naturally born as through God himself, right? With a soul, with an identity, male, female. Like, that's a God complex. Like, you're trying to play God, which has happened a lot on this earth more than what we think. And if we go back to the statement I made earlier with the Noah days, that was happening in the days of Noah as well. They were doing gene splicing just like they're doing now. And that's why Noah, a part of his family, they were like the last humans on earth that were 100% human in blood, because everybody else had been so mixed. And if you look at that and you know the truth on that, like, you can see how this is the same path. You get what I'm saying? Well, you're not going to know what you're dealing with, you know, because if you even watch some of the videos of these people when they put the makeup on versus when they don't have it, like, it's sorcery. You know what I mean? It's complete sorcery. Yeah, it's just complete sorcery.
Well,
so yeah, I'm definitely against this.
Isn't this still too much? Isn't this still like above the law still too? Sex offenders have to register
for life
when they're living in certain neighborhoods.
Right.
Okay, so do they now need to register on when they're using these restrooms? Because
good question.
At this point,
good question.
Like, anybody can be
Right.
coming up in the restrooms without children. We don't know.
And label yourself a transgender, so that gives you a clear path to the bathroom.
Right, yeah.
Where our children are.
And see, what happens is, I think a lot of people get caught up on the freedoms of the world. They get caught up on saying, well, people are free to do what they want. And I mean, you are free to an extent. You know what I mean? It's when you get into trying to change the laws of nature, that's not you expressing your freedom. That's you playing God. You know what I mean? That's a little different.
Here's this one man, he raped little girls for 12 years of his life. He's out now. He's registered.
Right.
He now is allowed to go in the restroom with the girls.
Yeah, see, that's
as a transgender.
Right, yeah, that's no good. So let's get a vote on it. I say destructive. Miss Janice.
Destructive.
Mr. Woodson. Mr. Woodson said disgustingly destructive. All right, stay with us. It's the Back by the Man radio show. We are up on break. We'll be back. Yeah, great.
This is a Poverty ENT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Rolls with me, yeah, it's time to go. Know your man.
don't have my money today.
Man, it is what it is.
Then last week you told me your wife was cooking.
Man, it is what it is.
Then again, I don't think I want your wife cooking because you don't like it.
Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio. It is what it is, 9/11.
Are they ready to? I know they're not ready to accept it, but yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Like, how many of them are really ready to think about it like that?
None.
You know, like
I think the problem is like even I don't even know how we got here, but it's inbred. You're not born to hate people. You're not born to distinguish between black and white and Asian and Hispanic. That's something that you're taught. You're taught. Point blank, period. My daughter came home and told me that her white teacher was black. Maybe it's because it's how she treated her. She don't see any color. But when it comes to all her friends, all her friends are mixed. All of her friends have a white parent, black, African, Hispanic, other parent. So children don't see color. You breed your children. Not breed. Right. You raise your children to see that.
Yeah, most definitely.
They don't see racism.
Well, I guess
I met a little girl who had a black doll, and she said because the black dolls are prettier than the white dolls. But then I've taken a black doll and a white doll and put it in front of two kids. And it's a study that they've done before. You put it in front of two kids, and you put it in front of a kid, and you ask them which one is the nice one.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another? We share the same respect. What is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. In case you missed it, today we are talking constructive or destructive, which is a segment we like to do at least once a month. So we just was going over transgender bathrooms, and we pretty much on a consensus decided that that was destructive. But I'm going to stay on that lane, right? And I'm going to skip ahead because this one fits right with that. So the next one let's do, allowing children to choose their gender. You know, that's the new thing they got going on. They're allowing children to choose their gender. So, you know, they're teaching kids, you know, you can be a boy or a girl. You know, you can decide that as you grow older. You know, what do you feel you're more like? Like what do you what do you guys think about that? I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy. Yeah, so they're allowing kids to choose their gender. What's your thoughts? And that says it all, everybody.
I don't know.
All right, well, I think it's insanity. It's not even just insanity that you're giving them a choice like that, but it's also insane to think that a child even knows how to even make a choice like that. Children can't even choose between the red one and the blue one on a toy. And you letting kids say, well, I feel like I identify as a girl, even though I'm a boy. Or I feel like I identify as a boy, even though I'm a girl. Like, it's just getting out of hand. You know what I mean? Like, what's next? What next? You going to have a male dog and say it's a girl? I mean, what is going on in this world?
I don't know. Even as 8-year-olds, you know, when kids are small, especially with the little boys, and they like putting on the high heels and carrying the pocketbooks when they playing with their little sisters. See, I don't even think that should be allowed. Like, none of it. Like, I didn't even know that kids was allowed to choose their own gender.
Yeah, that's what they're doing now. You know, I don't think it's very popular amongst the black community.
That's why I'm like shocked.
Thank God, you know, but it is happening. It is happening. So you got one of the most apparent places I've seen it at is with the celebrities. You know what I mean? With the celebrities, they taking these kids, and then they're identifying them to whatever they want to identify them for.
Charlize Theron is her name. I think she has a black child from Africa.
Absolutely.
Where this boy is labeled as a girl.
Yes, and we're going to tie that right into the next one that we do. But what do we think about this, allowing them to choose their identity? And audience, tell us what you think about these topics for constructive or destructive, because so far we've been thinking they're pretty destructive.
I think it's more is when you have a child, and this for the people that have children, the first thing you do when you get your son is born, you get him a blue hat and a blue onesie. This is what you do. It shows the difference between female and male. Right. So now when he gets, say about 2 or 3, the first thing a father does to a little boy, give him a truck, bat, ball, football. Female, Barbie doll, purse, or whatever have you. Now you're giving a child, you're not giving a child an opportunity because their mind doesn't understand, like, am I a girl or am I a boy? You're forcing this onto them. So now you're training like a lab rat to say, well, look, how's this purse look on me? You can be a girl if you want. If the purse is good on you, know what I'm saying? And then the boy and the female, like, you can play football if you want. It doesn't matter now in these days and time. So it's not that the child has an opportunity. You're training them mentally. You're putting the battery in their back to look, you could be a girl. You could be a boy. A child doesn't know how to use his Peter till he pees on himself to the time he's 2 or 3 till you train him.
True. Very true.
So he doesn't know what it is, so you tell him it's a wee-wee, son. Or your little girl, it's a kitty cat baby. They don't know the concept of what they have until you explain it to them. So now you're forcing this crazy agenda on these children, and it's sick.
It is. It's a lot of sick things going on in this society, and I think a lot of us are not aware of the fact that, a lot of the people that make these rules and run this society are pretty much sociopaths, and this is why we have all these crazy things. But, we're living in such a crazy society that you can pretty much find support on anything.
Absolutely.
You get what I mean? Like if you jumped out and said, I like, licking toads on Tuesday nights at midnight.
It's a hotline.
It's a hotline for it. You know what I mean? You got people, hey, we do the same thing out here in Idaho. You get what I mean?
Potatoes and toes.
Yeah, potatoes and toes. There you go. Potatoes and toes. So, and I think that's a part of the problem, like it's so much support for anything crazy. And then when you tend to want to do things that are more logical and not so crazy, you don't get the same amount of support. You know what I mean? You don't get the same amount of support. Like the world is literally going crazy. So I think that is, I think it's destructive. I think it's highly destructive. Miss Janice. Destructive.
Yes, I don't even have a comment on it.
Mr. Woodson, destructive.
Very
destructive. Yeah, I think that's very destructive. So let's tie that into the next one as well. Since you brought up Charlene Theron or whatever her name is, Theron, right? All right, so the next one, constructive or destructive? Allowing white people to continue to adopt black children. Allowing white people to continue to adopt black children. You got a lot of cases out here today of white people who have adopted black children and they're abusing them. Doing everything from drinking their blood to cutting them to changing their gender. I just watched a video the other day where it was 2 homosexual white men had a black little girl, and the one was outside beating her in the parking lot. You see that? And the black person walked up on the black woman. She was like, what are you doing? And he's like, well, this is my daughter. She's like, I don't care, who it is. Why are you hitting this child? The child's screaming, trying to get away. And he's like, come on, you need to come home. And she's like, no, because you keep hurting me. So long story short, the black woman was like, I'm calling the police. They both were like, well, this is our daughter. She said, it doesn't matter. You're out here abusing this child. This child is hollering and screaming and saying, I don't want to go home with you because you keep hurting me. You get what I mean? So when are we going to start evaluating? Should we continue to let this happen? Because I think the beginning stages of this was like, okay, well, at least someone wants to adopt these children, right? But now we're seeing, and I'm sure it's not all cases, but there's a lot of cases of white people adopting black children and then abusing them. And Charlene Theron, like you was talking about, is a classic example of it. She's got with a boy and she's making him into a girl, you know, dresses him as a girl. And it just seems like it's all a part of the agenda to soften black males. You know what I mean? It's all a part of softening us. So I personally think that, you know, this needs to, at a minimum, develop some tighter checks and balances. But me personally, I just don't think we should allow it, period. Like, if you're a black child, you should be adopted by a black family. You know what I mean? Because how is a white family going to be able to give you your black identity? They're not. You're going to be a black person that identifies as being European. And then the world is going to show you that you're not European. You're going to be in for a world of trouble. Right. So what do y'all think about that? Constructive or destructive? White people adopting black children?
I think it's destructive. I think kids should grow up in their own cultures.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're stripping them of their culture. But look, stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to finish this one. It's the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. We up on another break. We'll be back. Yeah, I think it's destructive. I mean, I get tired of seeing it. You know what I mean?
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge. You know, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirms that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism of Perry's show. Well, I got some constructive criticism.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Constructive or destructive? So we was talking constructive or destructive, white people adopting black children. And Mr. Woodson here had a valid viewpoint that he had brought up. So go ahead and elaborate on that again.
Dealing with the kids coming inside of those houses, they don't have the same, the white parent has all the opportunities, but the child doesn't understand these opportunities until he steps outside in the street.
Right.
Because he is a white child behind closed doors, even though his skin is black. But once he steps out their front door into reality,
right,
that's when that N-word comes into play. And they don't understand the concept of that. And then you scar the child because he just wants to be loved inside their home.
Right.
He wants the same love from these individual parents outside of the home.
Right.
So when he sees a black man, hey, little brother, then he doesn't identify with that brother.
Right.
Sees the white man, hey, sir.
Right.
Gets a frown.
Yeah, true.
So be careful because it's the thing to do, allowing these kids going into these white homes.
Yeah, it's going to make it impossible for a black child to identify with their blackness. You are not going to be able to relate to the struggle of your people that has been implemented by white people.
Absolutely.
When you was raised by white people.
Right.
So your perception is everything's always been sweet. Right. So you're not going to relate at all to what your people actually go through with their people. You know what I mean? I'll use Dr. Amos Wilson as an example. Dr. Amos Wilson said, as the black community, he's a child psychiatrist. He's like the predecessor to Dr. Umar Johnson. Right. So he was the one doing this before Dr. Umar. So he explains that one of the errors that we make within the black community is that we refuse to look at the relationship between white people and black people as a community. And instead, we try to focus on our personal relationships.
Right.
So as a community, we see these white people love killing black people and no justice gets served.
Right.
But we can't face that because we cool with Dave. We're cool with Kathy. You get what I'm saying? And we don't want to offend them by thinking about the reality. Your people do this to my people. And he says that that's an error in judgment. And I agree 110%. And that's what's going to happen with a child that's raised by white people. You know, they're not going to be able to relate to what white people have done as a community to people, to black people. They're only going to be able to relate to their experience, you know, which is what we do already through Stockholm Syndrome.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's a horrible ideal. There are plenty of white children to adopt. Adopt your own children. You get what I mean? Like, I could understand maybe a little bit more if it was like, well, there are no, you know, white kids in foster homes and all that. But there's plenty of them. So why do you feel compelled to, you know, snatch up our kids?
Like, what is your motive?
Yeah, what's your motive? And from what I've seen, the motive usually doesn't be looking that good. You know, they're trying to change their gender. They're beating on them, abusing them. You know, I've seen everything from drinking blood to, you know, holding them prisoner. You know, I mean, imagine you being a white person and you raised racist, like you really hate black people, but you're in a system where you can prove that because you have the income, you can go and adopt one of these black kids and then take all of your anger, you know, thoughts, whatever out on this child. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Because you have the power to take one home, and that's what's going on. I mean, if you remember when Madonna was doing this, like they literally said Madonna was stealing children from Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like literally packing them up and just straight taking them home, not going through, you know, the whole motion and red tape of customs and adoption and all that good stuff. And I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. I'll read a comment here, though. Mr. Terry Haig says, most times they get the February version of Black history and not see it as his story. Absolutely. That's what I mean. Can't possibly relate to the struggle of your people if you was raised to be like another people. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'll use an example. It's corny, but it matches what I'm saying. The whole story of Tarzan. Tarzan was the way that he was because he was raised by gorillas and apes, even though he was a human. And that's why he couldn't relate to nothing human. And it took for him to get away from the gorillas and apes to realize, okay, so I am a human. You get what I mean?
Right.
So it's no different with a black child. You're not going to be able to relate to anything as far as the struggle of your people. You may not even see yourself as being black. You know what I mean? You might see yourself as being something else. So, yeah, I think it's destructive. I haven't seen anything constructive come out of that yet, other than people saying, well, at least these kids got homes. Well, that's true, but if they're in there being abused, it might have been better off at the foster home.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh, because you got a nice house, the heat's on, but you in the basement.
Right, in the basement.
You know what I mean?
You know, being sexually abused, you know, things of that nature. So, yeah, I think it's destructive.
Definitely.
Miss Janice.
Destructive.
Destructive?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's pretty destructive. I think we need to look further into that. All right, so let's move on to another one. Constructive or destructive? Impeaching President Trump. Ooh, constructive or destructive? Impeaching President Trump. Now, I think we all are pretty much aware of, like, the so-called benefits of impeaching him, right? So there's really no need of focusing on that, right? So we're going to decide if this is constructive or destructive. I think we should focus on if he does get impeached, what could be the backlash of that. So the one that I think gets put out there the most is that it could be a, for lack of better words, a revolution, a movement of white people saying they're going to take it to the streets with their guns, you get what I mean, and because Trump's not president no more. Have you guys heard anything along those lines?
Not really.
No? Yeah, it's a lot of people that threatened to bring war within the country, civil war, if Trump gets impeached. I mean, do you think that would really happen?
I think it would be destructive if he did, because I think a lot of things will go on.
Do you think some people would really take to arms?
Yeah, they're taking the arms.
Mad because their racist leader is no longer the leader?
Yeah, absolutely do.
Mr. Woodson.
Me personally, I think he needs to get impeached.
Okay.
So that how I'm going to say this is going to come off a little crazy, but once I get to the end of you understand, is that if he does get impeached and they do take up arms, maybe we'll wake up. Maybe we'll get it. Because at the end of the day, we cannot allow. It's like us saying if he get impeached, it's going to be a race war. So let's become fearful now.
Right.
And that's how he'll stay in office.
Okay.
So what we should do is they're going to do it with him in there or without. By him being this tyrant getting put out, I'm for it. If it comes my way, I'm with it.
Okay.
See, I don't know. I thought, with him getting in office, it would kind of help be a wake-up call. But these people still stay asleep, even through everything that's happened since. Still a lot of sleepers.
But see, sometimes you gotta get burnt to feel it.
True.
So if this happens, because it's sad that where this buffoon is in there saying the most outlandish stuff, and they're agreeing to it, even though the trailer park trash is not getting no benefits from this.
Sure, never have.
It's the richest getting richer because he's dealing in business.
Right.
And they have lack of knowledge. They got 2 teeth in their mouth talking about we love Trump. He ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Nothing.
So now we're suffering because this man's in there turning these people against, like we did something to him.
Right.
But the problem is we might need to get smacked around and somebody put it in front of our face for us to get it. Because if we do not,
I'm gonna support what you're saying, because I think that is the one thing that has not been discussed other than here on this show, which is there has been a benefit to Trump being president, and that is that a lot of black people who were asleep got their wake-up call. And y'all know what kind of wake-up call that was. You get what I'm saying? They are now waking up to the reality that, hey, maybe it is some people in this country that hate us. Yes, it is. But I'm going to read a comment here. This is from Mr. Lydell Mann Sr. Now, he's introducing a whole new element that we didn't think about. He says, we don't want the vice president running this country. That's a good comment, because when you think about someone being impeached, I think we tend to think like the whole cart's getting thrown out.
Right.
But it's not. It's going to be next man up. Next man up is going to be Pence. So that would have to be taken in consideration. Like he was saying, who's going to be running the country next? Pence. Like, what do we know about this dude other than the fact that he had some suspect pictures from his college days? I don't know if y'all seen them online.
Yeah, I seen that.
You know what I mean? But great comment, man. Great comment.
I think that's just in chess or in war. Trump has to be a casualty. He has to be. Even though Pence might be sometimes Trump pretty much swines him out. You know what I'm saying? Trump has no loyalty. He let half his cabinet, whatever they call it, go to jail. You see what I'm saying? He's worrying about himself. He has to be a casualty, in my opinion, to get impeached for us to see what it is. Because if he don't, it's like right now, I've seen a couple rallies of it now. I was watching a couple videos. They are punching innocent people in the face, telling them go back to Africa.
Oh yeah,
Make America great again. First of all, America's never been great.
Not for us.
It's been stolen.
Yeah.
There's so much blood that seeps in the soil that it's pathetic.
Right.
And it's sad because now this man has flipped it. Took what progress that Martin, Malcolm, Medgar Evers, and so many black people fought just to get a small piece of the pie. Now he's flipped it within 4 years.
True.
So now I'd rather take another 4 years of turmoil with a machine gun on my back, felon and all, defending my people, instead of deal with him again.
And dealing with Trump. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible for those to take arms to the streets or whatever. Impeaching him, constructive or destructive. That's a tough one. That's a tough, because it's like you got to consider the outcomes if this man gets impeached. Overall, I don't think it really would matter to the black community who the president was.
Pretty
much. What I mean? It's never been, I don't have recollection of any president, and then years later, as far as black people, things got better for us. Tends to stay the same for us, no matter who's the president, because, the president is just, a puppet, for a lack of better words. You know what I mean? It's other people who pull the strings. So I don't know. That could be destructive, impeaching him. Miss Janice?
I'm sorry. I don't have enough faith in us as a people. I see every man for himself.
Right. Trump is giving that wake-up call. You know what I mean? I think it was a lot of black people that were still in dream la-la land. You know what I mean? That there's, a lot of these people in the higher-ups that got love for us. They don't. And Trump definitely made that clear. He gave them the spirit, the green light to say, listen, you don't have to hide this no more. Let's deal with them the way we used to deal with them. That's when they knew their place. And that's how he's kind of coming at us, right?
Right, and I'm saying, and even through all of that, we are still seeing, like, judges coming from the bench, hugging, people stroking hair.
Right.
Like, even after
Right.
all of that. So I just still don't have enough.
The thing is like, how long? It's like, I'm gonna give a better example. Use him and me.
Right.
Years and years ago, we was ridiculed as street, you know what I mean, on street hustles and all this other stuff. I cannot label him as that no more. He basically had to go through a situation in his life where he said, look, I gotta get it. So therefore, it took him a while to understand what it is and what it ain't. Just like myself. I got a lot of growing up to do. Don't get it twisted by far. But as long as we allow ourselves to keep sitting in mindset where, you know, they're not going to get it, they're not going to get it, we're still staying in the same place we was 30, 40, 50 years ago. It has to take a bombshell, little bombshell for us to get it. And maybe Trump is the key.
Could be. Ms. Katina Copeland says it's not going to matter. She says it's not going to matter whether he gets impeached or not. And I definitely can think of some points to support that as well. Tina, if you get a chance, let us know, elaborate on that a little bit as to why you think it may not matter one way or another. But yeah, that's kind of a toss-up. But I guess, see, the thing is, if Trump's not there, what guarantee do we have that the next person is going to be any better? Do you get what I mean? Especially if it's Pence and they're on the same team. What's he going to do different? I think the only thing you would get different from another white president is they would be more classier than Trump. They ain't going to be on Front Street like Trump is. Like, I'm going to build a wall and, you know, send them back to Africa if they don't like it. You know, like, they just going to come with a little bit more class to hide that they also are a Trump inside. This is what I personally believe.
I'm just like, even like what she said, that was a good point. She said nothing really going to happen anyway, because like we had a black president for 8 years.
Right.
And the only thing they monetized him on was in the Time magazine behind a rainbow flag.
Sure. Like I you know, I loved how Barack represented us. I thought he was an excellent black man, class act. As far as his actual performance as a president, no, he did not do anything specific for black people. And like you said, he will go down in the history books as the president who made homosexuality legal, painted the White House rainbow colors, and droned the hell out of the rest of the world. Right. You know, that's just the reality of it. That's fact. But I don't fault Barack for not doing a lot for black people the way most black people do, is because I understand the position of the president. Right. He really can't do but so much. You get what I'm saying? So if you put somebody in a position where it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to do for my people the way I want, but I still get to be the president of the United States. Do you really expect someone to say, well, if I can't help my people, I ain't going to take the job? Right. No, they taking the job. Of course. You know, the benefits are excellent. That's right. The benefits are excellent, and I love the house they gave. Right. So on that note, we'll be back. It's the Black Body Band Radio Show. Stay with us. Yeah, like, you know, you get that.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you.
Take a minute and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Any trouble, because I get into any trouble, but I had a problem that this then became a discussion at that workplace environment. Now, the discussion was I should have been more sensitive in what way was my first response. And I guess when I had to meet with that said person who had the issue with the person who was said leader of that organization, I said, well, to that person, how would I have known that? Well, you should have asked.
I think so. You want my opinion?
It was a circle, and I was willing to go on that merry-go-round.
You are better than most.
Yeah.
I think that's normal when you're in a group and there's norming. Most of the time when you're in new work environments or you're in a space where you're getting to know people, it's normal now to ask for people's preferred pronouns. You wouldn't have known that.
Normal to who? What is normal?
Well, you work in social... You work in social innovation and
my pronouns, so it's not normal to me.
You don't, but I think because I feel like the person was probably offended because they felt like you were not honoring whoever they are, right? But you wouldn't have known that.
Still to this moment, I don't know what their pronouns are. So in that
they didn't offer
circle, we still don't know. So I'll go as far as saying
you are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the BBD Radio Show. We was talking constructive or destructive, and the one that was on the plate was impeaching Donald Trump. It's a tough one for me. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go destructive. You know, here's the thing. Mine comes with an explanation. It don't matter to black people what's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not going to make a difference to us. But it could be destructive for the country because these other sociopaths might erupt and start killing even more black people. So I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective. So I'm going to say for now, maybe destructive. What you think, Ms. Janice?
Destructive.
Destructive. How about you?
Constructive.
Constructive. Okay, so we agree to disagree on that one.
I got a little quick.
You got explanation too, right?
The problem, the reason why us as black people don't feel what the president is doing is because we don't step outside the box.
Okay.
As long as we stay in these neighborhoods, sitting on these corners, drug dealing and doing this other stuff, we don't know what's going on in the world. When you escape your mind from being labeled as a nigger in the hood, then you'll figure out how to maneuver around these certain things, get things done, fight the system. You know, when you don't know these things, oh, it ain't gonna hurt us, and we sit back and take it. That's the problem with us, right? That's why the people are still asleep. Because we take, oh, it ain't hurting me.
Yeah, we definitely been on individualism for a long time, or we don't concern ourselves with the bigger picture. So that's true.
Trump ain't coming to the hood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Valid point, brother. Valid point. Okay, so we agree to disagree on that one, but we're going to keep it moving, constructive or destructive. Next up to the plate is supporting black slave movies. Supporting black slave movies. They keep coming out with these slave movies, and we keep going to see these movies. We keep supporting it. You know, is this constructive or destructive?
You got me on that one.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? Supporting these black slave movies. For me, it is it's destructive. I know a lot of black people like to support these type of movies, but I guess I'm more into learning about the psychology behind these type of movies. You know, these movies are scare tactics. These movies are being made by white people to remind black people, this is what we did to you. This is what we will do to you. Now, black people may not feel that when they're watching the movie. They just thinking it's entertainment. But you talking about people who have mastered propaganda by tapping into your subconscious mind. And interestingly enough, the movie theater is one of the first places that they tested that at. So for those who don't know, back in the day when they were going into testing, touching people's subconscious mind, in the movie theaters, you are very vulnerable. You're in a dark space with no lights on. Everything is being controlled by someone else. The sound, the picture, the whole nine, right? The doors, the exits, the whole nine. So what they would do is they would flash the word buy popcorn up on the screen, but they would flash it so fast that you wouldn't see it with the front of your eye, but your subconscious would catch it. And they would watch people suddenly get up and start buying more popcorn. So they knew this type of propaganda could be used to make people do certain things. So I'm saying within these slave movies, they're doing the same thing. It's things within the movie that is tapping into your subconscious that is keeping you fearful of them in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
So for me, it's destructive, and we shouldn't be going out here to support it. I mean, why do we want to see reenactments of what they did to us? That's my question.
Okay, for me, I think we go 50-50 on this. Constructive,
Yeah, me too.
destructive. For a reason, for everything you just said. One way it could be hurtful, and one way it could be helpful. I mean, some things for us, it has to be repetitive. We need to see it. It needs to be seen over and over and over again. Maybe one day you will wake up like, you know what? Wait a minute. And maybe one day you won't. But I think it still needs to be seen over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
Maybe somebody will finally get it.
Well, you know, the thing is, they're not going to give you the real deal. So I think what you're saying supports some of the cures for Stockholm Syndrome is to have the torture, suffering you went through to stay fresh in your mind. See, they're not really showing all that. You get what I'm saying? Because that may cause you to wake up. You get what I mean? And I think that's what you're getting at. You know what I mean? Like, it's a reminder for us of who these people really are. But it has not had that effect. 12 Years a Slave came out, we ran to the theaters, gave them people all kinds of money to see ourselves be re-enslaved. So for me, I can't support that. You know what I mean? Now, I'll support Django because he was beating the hell out of slave masters. And he was killing them. And that's what I want going into our people. That's the subconscious.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? But go ahead, Mr. Woodson.
I got you. And I totally agree with both of y'all. Because
Right.
I'm with her.
Okay.
On like, we need to see it, you know what I mean, for us to like, look, you know, you can get this again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can get that whip again.
I
You
think
get
it's a
hung
scare
again.
tactic.
You know, and I also ride with you with Django, as well as Birth of a Nation.
Right.
You know, stuff
See, I'm
like
with
that.
them.
And well, Harriet Tubman's coming on too.
Right.
She about to come on. She bust that gun. So at the end of the day, but my thing was how lost I was. I'm thinking like, you know, for them, because the first thing that an individual white person would say, slavery is over. Let it go.
Right.
But then in the Jewish community, you know, that's forever.
Yeah, the Holocaust. Yeah, they're keeping that forever.
Forever. So my thing is, as long as a black movie come out in slavery, as far as like getting a promotion to where you have to see it. I know you didn't do it per se.
Right.
But this is what you were your grandfather, great grandfather, great grandmother. These are the people that did these heinous acts.
Right.
But when you call me, you on the corner, see me standing on the corner, that you mentally trained me to do. Call me a monster. These were the real monsters.
Right.
You need to see that. So that's why I think some of the movies should be relevant. But what you just said made perfect sense. They don't really care.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I definitely see y'all perspective. I'm looking at it, I think, from a wider lens, right? Because you got all this stuff on social media with black people being killed in the streets, black people not receiving justice in the court systems, right? And then on top of that, they putting out slave movies every 2-3 months. You get what I'm saying? And I think the reason why we are mixed on this is because that's exactly the results it's going to get. It's going to be a percentage of us that's going to help wake them up, help cure them of their Stockholm Syndrome, to see the reality of how we was getting treated. And I think it's going to be a larger percentage of us that it's going to scare the hell out of them.
Right.
And it's going to make them redevelop that respect for white people, because you watching this slave movie, right? And you see how you being dealt with in that slave movie, right? And it's like, okay, that's just a movie, right? And then you go home on Facebook and it's happening live. It's going to put you in a state of mind that you might not want to, you know what I mean? Buck the system. The system's going to buck you. But I'll go ahead and read a comment here. So Terry Haig says, destructive. You may be telling a story, but it doesn't help to know your place now and where you can go. It keeps your mind locked. Okay, Terry. And Mr. Lydell Mann says Rosewood was a good movie also. Very, very true.
Definitely was.
So yeah, so I think we both make valid points on that. You know what I mean? But we up on another break, so stay with us. It's the Black Body Man Radio Show. We'll be back. Yeah, so you always know it's good when you get different perspectives.
Yeah.
First they love you, then desert you. Leave with a plate full with no spoon. Ain't no space, I can't escape negativity. I got used to the taste of it. Bad, burned, and fucked over. But remain strong through the Passover. Kicking haters out of the way like masked over. Roll up, sip something, let it pass over. Who would I be? It ain't the man to me that let the next man take advantage of me. When that storm come, don't pan I see. Get with it, not without it, then you'll see. I beat the haters, they know I'm greater. That's why they buzzing for the elevator. But I can't save you, we too loud on the pedal stool. Don't carry favors, always got your hand out demanding favors. When I just looked out, now you need more paper. I can't breathe, give me 3 feet. I never let y'all be the death of me. When my patience run that, yeah, nigga OT. Cause they wanna see me down like I'm an NCT. 6 words, get the fuck away from me. Say I help you out if you can help yourself. I keep it G till I DIE. Now excuse me.
Take a minute and listen to this flashback of the Black by Demand radio show.
Control. They said she wouldn't, so they didn't know if she had a weapon. So it's just a mess. So yeah, you do have to have these discussions with your children.
You do, and you have to make them aware of that there is an enemy out there. Every time the police pull you over, or every time you have an interaction with the police as a black person, you are at risk of being in front of your enemy. Hopefully, it's not a police officer that wants to demonstrate that he's your enemy, but we all see it's a high probability of that being the case. So if we're not talking to our children do not have the coping mechanisms to deal with these type of intense situations. What they're going to do is what most of us do as black people, me and anyone else, which is become emotional. And that is the trigger point for the police. They know that black people are emotional people. So when they arrive on the scene, they are purposely trying to say and do things to you to get your emotions up, right? And then once they get your emotions up, then it's like, oh, that's what we needed. Now we're going to kick your ass. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. You know, so I'm saying we need to have these discussions with our children, you know, and make them understand in this day and age, and it's every day and age really, but we'll just say this day and age for the sake of it being so prevalent on social media, like you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And I think a lot of us as black people are just scared to still tell our children that there are a group of people out here that are your enemies.
Join us every Monday at 12 noon for Black by Demand radio show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back everybody to the Black by Demand radio show. Today's show was constructive or destructive, and we were talking supporting slave movies. So we're basically mixed on this. You know what I mean? I think it's destructive. You thought it was 50-50. 50-50. Okay, it could go either way. Recently, Tyrese, the singer, you know, Tyrese has got a new movie coming out with the cop that
I seen the preview.
The rookie cop that saw the cops murder somebody. So Tyrese went on Facebook in regards to these type of movies. Now, of course, his agenda was to promote the movie he's in, but he went on Facebook and voiced his opinion about the slave movies. And what he basically said was these type of movies are still being made, and they're not designed to empower us. You know, they're designed to take power away from us, and we are supporting the narrative of being powerless people enslaved by white people again. So this is why I made it onto the list, because Tyrese actually made a video. And, you know, and it's not that I think celebrities are special people or anything, but they do command the attention when they speak on social issues because of their popularity. So yeah, that's why I made it onto the list. And he spoke about how movies like Black Panther empowered us. He was like, so that was a good movie to support. He's like, but y'all keep supporting these slave movies, and you don't know the agenda of these people behind making these slave movies. They're using it to scare you, to remind you that they're still over top of you, as you said, to crack the whip. You know what I mean? And we don't know it because we're just seeing it as entertainment. So I thought it was interesting that him being a part of the industry, part of Hollywood, he's a singer, he does movies, that here he is coming forward saying, listen, stop supporting these slave movies. Now, Black Panther, and the people don't like when I say this, Black Panther was very successful, right? Yeah. But a part of, and I love Black Panther, you know what I mean? I went and seen it several times. I love the movie. I love the whole vision of Rwanda and black people doing right? But I think one of the reasons that Black Panther got so much support from black people is because it was fiction. It's Marvel Comics. You get what I'm saying? So people tend to dive into something fiction. You know what I mean? Like nobody saw this as reality. It was just fantasy. And that's kind of how they sold it. Like this is what we could be, right? That's how we all went into it. Like we could get to this point. Whereas the slave movies is like, no, this is where you were. This is where you still are. And if you get out of line, this is where you're going to be again. So it all ties in with what they letting us see on social media, and then these slave movies, and then, you know, the whole mammy spirit, judges hugging murderers, you get what I'm saying? And black people coming forward to testify on behalf of white people against other black people. Like, you know, it's insanity. So that's why I felt it was destructive. But again, this is what it's all about. So we got constructive, destructive, supporting black slave movies. I think it's destructive. Miss Janice is kind of jury out, and same with you, right? 50-50. So for those in the audience, let us know what you guys think about it. You know, supporting slave movies, constructive or destructive. And that's the only way we're going to be able to figure out how we really feel about this. So it's kind of up in there. All right, but let's move on. All right, constructive or destructive. Next up on the list is the Impossible Burger. The Impossible Burger. Are you familiar with the Impossible Burger?
I had about 3-4.
Miss Janice, are you familiar with the Impossible Burger?
Yes.
Okay. Constructive or destructive? Well, first of all, for those who are not familiar with the Impossible Burger, it's popping up more and more. Now Burger King has it, right? I think I first got introduced to it at Louis Louis. You know what I mean? So it's a hamburger that's supposed to be completely plant-based. But when you eat this thing, it has the texture and the taste of real beef. You know, I love the Burger King commercial where the one woman was like, lies, right? Because when I first ate it, that's kind of how I felt. I ate that burger and I'm like, you know what? They just fed me a burger and told me it was something else, right? It's the Impossible Burger. But is this good? Is this constructive or destructive?
I think it's destructive.
Okay. Any reason?
I'm gonna go with the simple one. I think anything that's outside, inside a fast food restaurant is destructive.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, it's also on the menu at restaurants, so it didn't start off in fast food restaurants.
But it's there.
Okay. What do you think? You've had one before too, right?
I had several. Several. But it's also a friend of mine said it's high in sodium as well.
Okay.
So that's where I was like, well, look, you know, everybody knows my blood pressure is a little unfamiliar as we speak. So I'm trying to change my diet up. So instead of getting the burgers, something fast, I'm going to try this plant-based hamburger.
Okay.
My thing is, I agree with her, and because first of all, every fast food restaurant is filthy.
Right.
Filthy.
Right.
But the idea of something plant-based to get your children's mindset to try this out is cool for me.
Okay. All right. I think it's destructive because, for one, I don't trust the people who make these type of things, right? And the way that thing tastes is so real. Remember what I was telling you about Dr. Joe Furman. Anything that tastes good like that, it's got to be horrible for you, right? I believe they used a mixture of chemicals and things with, you know what I mean, this plant-based whatever to make this burger, and I just don't see how it could possibly be good for you. Like, it reminds me of margarine. You see how everybody loves margarine, right? And in this society, they pushed that it's better than butter. Right. That's how we all grew up with our parents, you know, having the margarine buckets that never had margarine in it. It was always beans or something like that, right?
Leftovers.
But, you know, turns out margarine is completely chemical made. It's literally one molecule off from being plastic. So here they are telling us you should use margarine instead of butter, because butter will clog your arteries, when in all reality it was the exact opposite. They were feeding us something that was almost plastic. So this is where my mind's been at when it comes to trusting them with these alternative products that are supposed to be beneficial for us, right? yes, you shouldn't eat a lot of butter, but at the end of the day, butter is at least natural and your body can process it. Your body cannot process margarine at all. So they literally was telling us that this was going to stop our arteries from being clogged, and it was literally clogging us up. So I see it as being another attempt for them, putting something out there, and then, and I say this often, and I think we tend to forget about this. We tend to forget that a lot of these people just flat out lie all the time. You get what I'm saying? They lie.
But are they really lying? Let's pay attention to detail. It's the Impossible Burger.
Okay. All right. I think I see where you're going with this.
They telling you.
It's impossible to believe this is really good for you.
Impossible Burger. So are they really lying?
We'll give you a bell on that. It's the Impossible Burger.
It's in the name. I'm just saying.
Right. It's impossible to believe this thing is good for you.
It's and what they do is, I remember being in a place where I ran across a meat. It's called mechanical meat.
I know about mechanical meat. Yep.
So, if you look at it, you'll throw it in the pan. It looks it's just paste.
Right.
But once you add heat to it, it forms into hamburger meat, as they say.
Right.
So, like I said, again, me personally, I had several Impossible Burgers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My thing was, first thing, I was telling someone the other day about, they said this is organic, this is organic. All I got to do is put organic on this bottle. You'll drink it.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing. That's what I'm saying. These people lie all the time. You get what I mean? Like, I say it all the time. I'm being funny, but it's still true. Like, double cheeseburgers was supposed to be 99 cents forever. That was in, like, late 90s? Double cheeseburgers are not 99 cents. So I'm just making a point that they lie. You know what I mean? Like, they tell us anything. So I just don't believe it's good. I think I would just take my chance and eat a regular burger before I ate another Impossible Burger. And I ate a couple of them, and it just didn't sit right with me. I just felt like, something's not right about this. So I think it's destructive, even though it's being pushed as being something positive. Miss Janice.
It's destructive.
Mr. Woodson, even though they're delicious.
Yeah, destructive. I kind of got to look at the team ship.
I'm just going to believe what they say.
I think it's chemicals.
When they say
it's impossible.
It's
the Impossible Burger.
I'm just going to believe it.
It's definitely the Impossible Burger. All right, so we think that was destructive. Okay, so it looks like we got time for another. All right, so let's move on to the next. Constructive or destructive? Holistic medicine and holistic healing. Constructive or destructive? Holistic medicine or holistic healing. Now, for those in the audience tuning in with us today, if you're not aware of what holistic medicine is, holistic refers to a lot of Eastern culture and medicine. You'll find it a lot in the Asian countries, where it's basically medicine that deals with nature, right? So it's medicine that's coming from plants and vegetables and alternative healing practices like lining your chakras, acupuncture, these types of things. So do we think these things are constructive or destructive? Holistic healing, holistic medicine.
I think it's constructive.
Talk to me.
I'll come back to it. But
Okay.
I think it's constructive.
All right, before I go to Mr. Woodson, I'll read a comment. Lydell Mann says, constructive, the pharmaceutical companies are the biggest thieves in the world and the biggest poisoners. All right. Bingo. You get a bell for that, sir. And thank you for that comment. Absolutely true. I agree with him 100% on that. What do you think, Mr. Woodson?
We was having a discussion about this thing pretty much anyway about far as the pharmaceutical companies and the money game. Like I looked up on chakras, I think a couple of weeks ago. It's basically mental healing.
Yes.
You can't go wrong with that. It's no real side effects. It's you dealing with your inner self, fixing yourself from the inside out. So I'm going constructive with that.
I think it's constructive too. I think we have been, again, somewhat gullible with believing everything that Western culture teaches us, right? Not understanding that these people are liars. And as Mr. Lydell said, they're drug dealers, right? So pharmaceuticals are drug dealers. There's no money in healing people. Money is in keeping people sick to continue to feed the medical community. And let alone the fact in 2016, they killed Dr. Sebi. At least that's what us in the community believe. You know, we can't prove it, but we believe that Dr. Sebi's death was a conspiracy. And also not mentioned during Dr. Sebi's death was that 50 other holistic doctors also popped up dead. So to me, it's a clear statement being made that the pharmaceutical industry is very fearful of people learning holistic healing, holistic medicine, learning how to use herbs and fruits and vegetables and essential oils, along with working on spirituality, meditation, aligning your chakras and things of that nature to heal yourself. And I don't really think they want this happening. So yeah, I think it's very constructive. I think holistic medicine is very constructive. A lot of people who have money, when they come across certain illnesses in their family, because they have money, they don't run to the doctors like us. They immediately start investigating holistic healing, and some will even take a trip, whether it's to a country in Asia or like Dr. Sebi's camp in Honduras. You know, they'll try these other alternative methods. Dr. Sebi in particular was already well known by the celebrities before we even knew of him. So you had people like Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Michael Jackson, Prince, Dick Gregory, all these people. They knew about Dr. Sebi and had conversations with him, used his holistic healing practices, and that's pretty much why we think he's not here with us today. So yeah, I believe it's constructive. I believe it's very constructive. What's y'all reasons for thinking it's constructive? Miss Janice, talk to me. You've been a little quiet today. Talk to me.
I've been a little quiet today because, like, the conversation that we've had, it's just, they all go deep. It's all deep for me.
Deep and like the mines of Minolta.
Yeah, in the world.
Now picture this.
The world is not ready for what I have to say on any of these things. But I'll just keep this one simple, too. I just think it's constructive. Anything dealing with the natural healing, it's
yes.
It has to be better than what we get from these pharmaceutical places.
Mr. Woodson.
I'm having this dilemma as we speak because, you know, pharmaceutical companies, they tell you to take these particular medicines, but to give you a list that as long as the daggone book from side effects.
Right.
So therefore, something that is natural, when you can do it without harming yourself, hurting yourself, it's constructive.
Constructive, right? Yeah, I think it's constructive as well. I think you should do research before you just jump into doing things. But one of the easiest ways to start holistic healing for your body is to change your nutrition, right? Change the way you eat, reverse your meat intake with intake of plants and vegetables. You know, I talked about the G bombs a few times on the show. It's an acronym. The letter G, the word bomb, stands for greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, and nuts is included with seeds. So eating these type of things is the beginning of holistic healing as well. I'll read another comment here. This is Mr. Lydell again. Thanks for tuning in with us, brother. We appreciate your participation. And he says, man, think about it as 45 wants to keep weed legal, but wants to make the synthetic strand of THC and CBDs, I guess, legal. I think holistic medicine is very constructive in a lot of people who, and I think he ran out of space there. So yeah, that's a good point. You know, he's saying he wants the THC to be illegal, but the synthetic strand of THC and CBDs to be legal. So yeah, marijuana has proven to be one of the healing herbs of the earth, right? Now you got the people like the Jamaicans for years have been telling us, you know, about God put all the herbs on earth for our healing, and now we're starting to realize that marijuana is also one of those herbs, even though for years they taught in the Western culture that it was a gateway drug to other drugs, which is just insane. You know, I'm so glad people are waking up and seeing marijuana is a plant. Okay, a plant is not a drug. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know things can be used to, you know, alter your mindset or whatever, but it doesn't really make it a drug. I mean, like, we eat mushrooms, and some mushrooms will get you hallucinations. Mm-hmm. But we don't classify mushrooms in general as drugs. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Marijuana is a weed. You know, unless we classifying weed across the board as a drug, why would just marijuana be a drug? And it's proven to help people in, you know, cases of sickness like cancer, AIDS, and things of that nature. So yeah, marijuana was a good comment. All right, well, stay with us. We'll be back. We're up on break again. It's the Black by the Man Radio Show. We'll wrap it up, read a couple more comments, and we'll be back.
this unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new and take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you like. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, it's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels up from me. Oh no, she couldn't get the feels up from me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels up from me. We do whatever you like.
Now listen to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. I let my gut, and if I call it gut or God or whatever, I'm led by that energy. I know where it comes from. I know where it's, taking me, and you have to figure out what is important to you, and don't play this game. It's a game that we've learned to play, this chess game, and life is not a chess game. Life is real, bones, flesh, blood, decisions.
Make sure you check out the Artist Exchange Show every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Like keys only have this bitch jumping. Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel rap. If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head and I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Working mode, tell them where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell them where the cash. You playing for you, gon' run it back. Don't make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. Now it's all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the BBD Radio Show. We are capping off the show. We had to end here. We did constructive or destructive. So the last one was on holistic healing and holistic medicine. So I'm going to read a few comments here. So Miss Mauricia Phillips says, they have killed so many holistic doctors. The pharmaceutical companies do not want you to be able to self-heal or find alternatives because they only make money off of keeping you sick. Bingo. Hence why the GMO food, the chemicals in our food, and only allowing a certain amount of people or type of people to access real health care. Absolutely, I agree 100%. Marisha, thank you for tuning in with us. We appreciate you. So she's right on that. She says, I believe in medical marijuana not to be smoked but consumed by eating to receive all its medical properties. Another great comment, and she's right. Medical marijuana, you do receive the best properties from it if it's not smoked. You get what I mean? Because anything that you put fire to, you are diminishing some of its effect. So very valid point. Let's find another comment here. All right, Miss Roz Copeland here. Thanks for tuning in with us, Roz. Roz says, well, it's very destructive, and let me tell you why. With all the anxiety, depression, and panic attacks that black folks have that they don't talk about, they don't go and sit with a therapist or go to the doctors. It hurts every day, every time they release some type of stuff like this, and we go sit and watch it, and we are affected. And we have adult and children walking around saying they don't feel good. I'm sick, and this is why. Yes, I'll give you a bell on that as well. I agree with that as well. So yeah, that would go back to what you were saying. That burger may really be impossible. So yeah, so I'm going to go with. I think the holistic healing is very constructive. Miss Janice, you thought it was holistic healing, constructive, destructive.
Whatever you guys said.
Constructive. All right, you agreeing with us. Mr. Woodson's constructive as well. Yeah, I think it is constructive. I think it's something that we should look into. I put this information out here before, and I'm going to put it out again. And again, I don't get paid by this brother to do this, but for me, it's all about what helps us as a community of people. So if you want to kind of begin some type of holistic healing and you don't know where to start, check out the Minister of Wellness on YouTube. And he goes over some very good things we can do to start changing our nutrition to help heal ourselves. I am a person who studied Dr. Joel Furman as well as Dr. Sabi, and the Minister of Wellness has also studied these same people, but he has a way of putting it in layman's terms, as I like to say. So make sure you check that brother out and heal yourself, man, because we can do this, right? We don't have to be as sick as we are. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to start having a black education, and a great place to start is right here at the Black Body Man Radio Show, because everything that we do to help our community and try to advance ourselves as well, because we too are students and we will continue to learn every day. Every day we are still learning. So how we feel about today's show? Constructive or destructive? Constructive. Mr. Woodson.
Constructive.
As the host of this show, I'm going to say today's show was constructive as well. And if you're thinking that I'm biased, you are correct. So, so anyway, we want to thank everybody for tuning in with us. Make sure you check us out at blackbodyman.com. Remember, buy is spelled B-U-Y. And we need your help as a patron. Please become a part of our crowdfunding and be one of our patrons at patreon.com/BrotherMikeBBD. You can donate as little as $1 to help us out each month so we can continue to bring you some of these awesome shows. And we will be back for you guys next week, Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. So on behalf of the Black Body Man team, my co-host, the lovely Miss Janice, our awesome team member, Mr. Derrick Woodson, I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I'll catch you on the flip side. That's the black side. Peace.
Like, the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like, yeah, I'm good and all that.